Well, you know the new show, The Conners, premiered tonight right here on Denver 7. It's the Roseanne sitcom without Roseanne. ABC canceled Roseanne after she sent a tweet perceived as racist about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett.
Well, the backlash was instant and overwhelming over both the tweet and ABC firing her. So tonight, though it may not be politically correct to do so, we are going 360 on political correctness.
Are we too politically correct these days?
Yes, 100%.
What do you think?
I would agree, yeah.
People need to stop being so offended about everything.
It is worse now than I've ever seen it.
John Caldera is president of the Independence Institute, a libertarian think tank in Denver, and he also thinks we've become too politically correct, and he has a few examples.
In Boulder, you're not allowed to own a dog. However, you can be a pet guardian. Facebook had some 60 different terminologies for your gender. One time, it was politically correct to say a colored person. That would be very incorrect today, but you can say a person of color. Of course, we cannot say he is retarded anymore. He has to be developmentally delayed.
He could go on, and he does. Now, Caldera's son has Down syndrome, and even that is fraught with PC landmines.
I don't have a Downs child. I have a child with Downs.
He thinks the always changing appropriate words are confusing and needless.
There is no right not to be offended.
But isn't what Caldera considers self-censorship just civility?
You can't just always say what you want to say. No one has ever been able to without repercussions.
Fair enough.
You just can't. I mean, you have to function with other human beings at some point, or you're going to be that guy that no one wants to be around.
Trust me, as the that nobody wants to be around, I have a lot of authority in this area. Welcome to free speech. You will be offended.
Dr. Hal Bidlack, political columnist, retired Air Force colonel and professor, believes both sides have gone off the rails with political correctness.
On the left, we see it with very foolish notions, especially at universities and colleges, to try to make sure that no one says anything that could be offensive, when in fact the whole point of college is to have your ideas challenged.
But the right, he says, has turned it into something far more dangerous.
To say, oh, you're just being politically correct as some kind of weapon to say what the person's saying is nonsense.
Bidlack concedes it takes effort to keep track of what people prefer to be called, but they are the ones who get to decide. And effort, he adds, is a small price to pay to get along better.
We evolve as a society, and it makes some sense to me that our language would evolve with us.
Another view in our 360, rejection of political correctness in some circles has become an excuse to say outrageous things. For example, this primary debate exchange between then Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly and then candidate Donald Trump.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president?
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness.
And that's what's most troubling to Dr. Bidlack.
When he says something outrageous, if you challenge him on it, you're simply trying to restrict his free speech. That's not a good sign for the future.
And for that, Caldera blames the Bidlack bunch.
You reap what you sow. And when you stifle speech and stifle expression, it's going to come to a boil.
In other words, Caldera says our PC culture created President Donald Trump.
And sooner or later, people, out of their frustration, will vote for somebody like Trump because he talks the way I'd like to be able to talk.
A final point of view in our 360. Now, the term politically correct is so politically charged now that just mentioning it can drown out a conversation. Now, the dictionary's definition of politically correct is conforming to a belief that language and practices which could offend political sensibilities, as in matters of race or sex, should be eliminated. So, let's try an experiment. Like we did earlier, let's ask people how they feel about political correctness, but not use that term. Just like as a matter of course during the course of a day, going through life, do you think it's a good idea to try not to offend people?
Oh, a million %.
I don't think really there's anything to try about it. It's just be nice to people.
I think it's quite easy not to offend people. I think it's just about having respect.
I think that's always a good idea.
To try not to offend people.
Yeah. I would say something not appropriate for TV, but you know, just
we got a bleep button. Go ahead.
Okay, like don't be a
Perfect. I'm going to get a bumper sticker that has that. Yeah.
Okay, here we are.